Hey everyone. In class, we talked about the sculptural assemblage project that you're going to be expected to work on. Sorry, my screens are flipping here. So you can see here we have a little figure made with an old, almost like sharpener, pencil sharpener, and then some forks and spoons and some bolts or something on his head and washers for his eyes. So things that are not intended to be made into a little sculpture of a, almost like something from Monsters Inc., but now have new purpose in making a little sculpture of a figure. So we're going to be working on an assemblage project. The assemblage is the additive process. The opposite of that would be this subtractive process. So a block of wood, a block of stone, a block of clay, and removing material. The additive process is actually putting things together. So in this case, we're going to use found objects, and those found objects are going to be scavenged by you. So assemblage is an artistic process in which 3D composition is made from putting things together, the found objects. In the 1950s, this pretty much was kind of when it first became more mainstream. And that has a lot to do with mass production of things at that time. Is a little bit the start of this throwaway society. And nowadays, we really have a throwaway society. So you guys can even scavenge things out of your recycle bin, the tops of pop bottle caps and things like that too. So don't discount some of our modern day trash. Um, in this case, we're going to be taking things that have a different purpose and repurposing them into something new, which is a sculpture. You guys can look at these links for more artists and examples. So for homework in your sketchbook, I want you to pick one of these 4 artists and write 5 additional facts about them in your sketchbook. So Louise Nevelson, Alexander Calder, Robert Rauschenberg, and Joseph Cornell. These are historical artists. These are artists that were practicing in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And their artwork is hanging all over the world, and a lot of it is in museums and parks. Very well-known artists. So if you like the look of Louise Nevelson's work, then research her a little bit more, 5 additional facts in your sketchbook. If you like Alexander Calder, research him, and so forth. And then do the same thing for contemporary artists. These are artists that are working now. 5 additional facts about one of these artists. So David Smith, Deborah Butterfield, Iwa Pachuca, Jackie Windsor, Carlos Costa, and some more links for you. So this is an essential question. Other things to consider. Who decides what good sculpture is and how can that opinion be proven? We'll continue to talk about that all semester as far as other artworks go. What is good? Can you find your own culture and personal experience in the sculpture of another culture and time? Where can you find inspiration for your own sculpture outside of the art class? How do you use the elements of art and the principles of design as visual language in sculpture? How do you express meaning through sculpture? What do you want to create with your objects? And what are your ideas to connect to your found objects? Do you need to find even more objects than you initially thought? So the assignment, the project will be due the 28th, but we have a lot of steps and processes to go through before we can get to the final thing. So, but when you are ready to start kind of thinking about what you want to make, we're going to look at figural, animal, robot, or creature. Think about how we're going to attach those things together, those materials that you collect. I would say you need 20 to 30, maybe more small items. Remember that you don't want items that are too heavy or too big. It will be difficult to bring into school to work in class. So next week, I'll be giving a planning sheet to work on, and then you also want to bring in your found objects to the 2 in-person classes that you have next week. So here's some examples. more examples. So call your grandparents, aunts and uncles, friends, check everywhere in your house. Start kind of brainstorming and looking and hunting for materials, toothpicks, buttons, anything in the garage, old bolts and washers, barrettes, old crafts. Like if you've done, your mom or somebody in your house has done some crafts and there's leftover bits and pieces from that. Like I said, recyclables, bottle caps. Um, so just start looking all over your house. Maybe there's something electronic or something mechanical that you don't need anymore and it's in a donation pile in your basement to go to Goodwill or somewhere. Maybe you could tear it apart and get a lot of pieces and parts from that. So don't discount that too. Like if you have something that is no longer useful to you or your parents, tear it apart and look at all the things you get from that, and then you have a lot of material to use for the project. So, all right, guys, take care. I'll see you in class next week.